Hi there, thanks for coming back to our channel. Today we give you a piece of breaking news from People magazine. A new memoir reveals the juicy details of Princess Diana's wild night with a rock legend, Part 2. Well, in an interview with Sky News, Freestone admitted that it was a possibility. He said, maybe Diana went with Kenny and Cleo, but Freddie was certainly not involved. There's a lot of rumors that we could destroy, but no, that never really happened. And sadly, the two other parties involved aren't around to either confirm or deny the story. Everett died of AIDS in 1995, just 4 years after Mercury had succumbed to the same disease. Someone else who knows a lot about Diana is Paul Burrell, as for 10 years he was the princess's butler. And Burrell has hardly been backward about coming forwards with juicy details about his life in the royal household. His time rubbing shoulders with Britain's most famous family has made him well placed to give his verdict on Harry and Meghan too. As a former butler, Burrell knows what goes on behind closed doors in royal quarters. And since the death of his beloved boss, he has spilled more than a few secrets about Diana and her private life, perhaps to the regret of her relatives. Then in 2020, Burrell turned his attention to the late princess's son, Harry. And as it turned out, he had quite the confession to make about the Duke of Sussex's marriage to Meghan. Burrell's affiliation with the royal family goes back decades, too. Following a trip to the historic Buckingham Palace as a youngster, the Englishman developed a real and abiding interest in the British monarchy. In time, this would lead to a highly prestigious job, footman to Queen Elizabeth II. It was Burrell's second position within the royal family that made him a household name, though. Up until Diana's untimely death in 1997, he was employed for a decade as the princess's butler, a role that he has claimed made him close to his boss. In fact, Burrell has reportedly referred to himself as the only man that Diana ever trusted. But since being relieved of his duties, Burrell has become a controversial figure in his own right and has often made tabloid headlines. For example, in 2001, his home in the English county of Cheshire was scoured by police following allegations of theft. Specifically, it was claimed that Burrell had stolen various items that had belonged to either Diana or her two sons. Rather incredibly, though, the Queen came to the former butler's rescue. Yes, while Burrell was initially up against charges of theft, his subsequent trial sensationally collapsed when none other than the Queen spoke up in his defense. Apparently, she'd given her former employee permission to store the 310 items in question. And as a result of this intervention, all legal proceedings against Burrell were dropped. But the aforementioned court case wasn't the last time that Burrell's conduct would be called into question. During a 2008 investigation into the death of Diana, you see, the erstwhile member of the royal household was found to have clandestinely duplicated correspondence between the princess and others. Burrell argued, however, that he had done so because of the paper's historical importance. Then there's Burrell's private life, which has also come under some scrutiny. For instance, in 2016, it was revealed that he and his wife Maria had gone their separate ways after 32 years of marriage. Then, a year later, the ex-butler walked down the aisle for the second time with partner Graham Cooper. According to an insider, Burrell had once confided in Diana that he was gay. However, in January 2020, Burrell denied this assertion during a chat with OK Magazine. Diana and I never discussed my sexuality at length, but it was a known thing between us, he said, adding, let's face it, I did great flower arrangements, chose her outfits, and gave her advice. All the clues were there, and she was a clever lady. And it's fair to say that Burrell has courted the limelight, not least by penning several books about his experiences with the royal family and Diana in particularly. He's also become a reality TV regular, appearing on shows such as Big Brother and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, as well as serving as a judge on Australian Princess. Then in 2018, Burrell was able to capitalize on his royal experiences once more when, in the days leading up to Harry and Meghan's nuptials, he was appointed as a royal correspondent on British breakfast TV show Lorraine. Apparently, his previous link to the groom's mother was instrumental in landing him the job. And Burrell pretty much hasn't stopped giving his opinion on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex since. In an interview for the 2019 British documentary Kate v. Meghan, Princesses at War, the former royal aide described the Suits star as a strong and independent woman. Yet he still had doubts as to whether someone from such a humble background would be able to adapt to her lavish new surroundings. Meghan is married into the most traditional family in the country, the royal family, Burrell explained. He then began drawing comparisons with the woman he served for a full decade, adding, "How is she going to cope? Princess Diana was brought up in a house that was as big as Buckingham Palace, and even she was lost." Burrell additionally suggested that Meghan would find herself in trouble if she didn't conform to royal protocol, saying, "Buckingham Palace is a minefield for any person going in there for the first time. People set traps, and they weren't very kind to this young girl coming into this world. Who would want to be a part of that family?" But to help Meghan cope with the trials and tribulations of being a royal, Burrell offered some words of wisdom. He recommended that she become acquainted with the member of the family who apparently matters the most, Harry's grandmother, the Queen. Diana's alleged confidant also advised Meghan to keep as close as possible to her new husband. And Burrell has continued to comment on the royal couple since. In a May 2019 edition of Good Morning Britain, for instance, he was asked to give his opinion about the birth of Harry and Meghan's son, Archie. Then, while responding to a question about how Diana would have received her fourth grandchild, he replied, "She'd be in her element, wouldn't she? Meghan's mother, Doria, would not get a look in. She'd have been thrilled to bits." Burrell was also invited onto the Good Morning British set in 2019 following the British TV premiere of Harry and Meghan, An African Journey. In the documentary, the Duke of Sussex reveals why he feels the need to be so protective of his family, explaining, "My mum clearly taught me a certain set of values of which I will always try and uphold, despite the role and the job that sometimes that entails, if you know what I mean." Harry continued, "Everything that Diana went through and what happened to her is incredibly raw every single day. And that's not me being paranoid. That's just me not wanting a repeat of the past. And if anyone else knew I'd be a father, be a husband, be it anyone, you'd probably be doing exactly what I'm doing as well." Burrell responded to the documentary by telling the hosts of Good Morning Britain, "I knew Harry. He was devastated. And to walk behind his mother's coffin in front of the world was just dreadful. And that's had an amazing impact on him. He does feel the media hounded her to death." Given Burrell's willingness to make such provocative statements then, it's perhaps no surprise that he was invited onto Good Morning Britain again in January 2020. Famously, that month Harry and Meghan had revealed that they would be relinquishing their positions as senior royals. And after the former butler weighed in on the drama, he once again drew parallels between Meghan and Diana. First, Burrell claimed that his late boss would have given her blessing to the couple's controversial decision. He told viewers, "As I've seen this unfold in America, I've been thinking of Diana. She would have given the boys advice and said to them, marry for love, which they have. Be respectful and kind to your wife, which they both have. But also, be happy." Speaking from his Florida home, Burrell then added, "Diana wasn't happy, and clearly Meghan and Harry aren't either in the environment they're in, being stifled by the royal household. Diana found that impossible, marrying the whole family." He also claimed that both Diana and the Duchess of Sussex weren't afraid to cut ties with others when necessary. And Burrell went on to suggest that Diana had had ambitions to escape her homeland too. The former royal aide said, "She had the plans for that on her sitting room floor to buy a home in Malibu when she went away to the Mediterranean. She was going to buy that property. So is it any surprise Harry's following his wife's dreams and in his mom's footsteps?" Yet, Burrell did reserve a measure of sympathy for another of his former employers. He said, "I feel very sorry for the Queen, of course, 93 years old. Our monarch has suffered greatly over the years and seen a lot happen to her family, and she's moved with the times." Burrell also expressed concern about the prince's relationship with his older sibling, adding, "I do feel sorry for William and Harry not having that bond which they once had. Obviously, when their mother died, they were cemented together and inseparable. I feel sorry for that, and their mother would be sad too." But when Good Morning Britain host Piers Morgan questioned Harry and Meghan's work ethic, Burrell seemingly took the Duchess's side. He countered, "It's very difficult for the outside world to understand what it's like to live in a palace. You don't just marry one person, you married the whole family. Meghan had no idea what she was getting herself into. Nobody can." Burrell then referred to a note that he claimed to have received from Diana, saying, "I saw recently a letter in which the princess wrote to me. She wrote to me about her future, and she said, I would look up and live and laugh and love. And I think they're poignant words to send to Harry and Meghan." So, in Burrell's opinion, would Diana have approved of her youngest son's union with the Suits actress? Well, in an April 2020 conversation with Cheshire Live, the former butler suggested as much, saying, "Princess Diana would have wanted her sons to be happy and would have supported them unconditionally." Burrell continued, "With Harry being sixth in line to the throne, it's unlikely that he will have become king. Why not let him and Meghan have a happy life? And then with the Queen's approval, there is no reason why they shouldn't achieve their dreams and be totally independent." In an interview with Closer the next month, Burrell even suggested that Harry's wife and his late mom had things in common. He said, "Harry went for and married Meghan because she's like Diana. Both are women who would always stand up for what they believe in and wouldn't be pushovers." Nonetheless, Burrell claimed that the similarities between Meghan and Diana could have caused some friction if the princess were still alive. "I think possibly Diana and Meghan would have clashed," Burrell theorized. "I imagine it would have been two strong, independent women with different views on things. It would have been a battle between Meghan's way and Diana's way." He admitted, however, that there are several ways in which the pair differ. Burrell conceded, "I think the main difference between them is that Meghan has a game plan, whereas Diana was young and naive. And while the princess may appear to have used the media to her advantage during her lifetime, her ex-employee hinted that it wasn't for the same reasons as her future daughter-in-law." Diana did the book with Andrew Morton and courted the press over the years because she didn't have a voice, Burrell explained, and her strong-mindedness meant that she cared, and she felt the people of the country had a right to know what had gone on behind closed doors. You could say Meghan does too, but I think her courting the press is more for her career. Yes, Burrell seems to believe that the Duchess of Sussex is far more at ease with selling her public image than her late mother-in-law had been. He added, "In years to come, we'll see Meghan on red carpets, with A-list friends, and in films, perhaps. Diana wasn't like that. She wasn't interested in self-promotion." And it's Meghan's relationship with the press that appears to be of particular concern for Burrell. While talking to Cheshire Live, for example, the ex-royal aide said that the Duchess and her husband should avoid all talk about being stalked. He added, "They do need to accept being photographed by the paparazzi. They can't have an entirely private life." Burrell had previously voiced his distaste for Meghan's alleged love of the limelight in a 2019 piece for The Sun. There, he wrote, "The lines are getting blurred between celebrity and royal. There's a clear line between the two, and Meghan doesn't know the difference. The Queen has always said, we're not celebrities. To be royal is something very different. Meghan may say she doesn't have to toe the line, but she has a royal title now, and you have to give up a lot to be a member of the royal family. She can't have her cake and eat it. I think we all have to wait with bated breath and watch the way this one's going to progress. It is certainly a fiery, tempestuous comet streaking through the royal family." Unlike much of the press, though, Burrell refuses to believe that the Duchess of Sussex is pulling all the strings in her relationship. While in conversation with OK, he instead asserted, "Meghan's an independent woman who has her own mind. It may look as if she's manipulating Harry, but she's not. I have no doubt they discuss everything, and they'll have another baby very soon." Burrell would court the press himself again in May that year by unveiling what he claimed to be a previously unpublished letter from Princess Diana. In the correspondence, apparently penned in 1992, the royal remarks on a visit to Mother Teresa's Calcutta convent home. And although the princess didn't get to meet the saint herself, Diana still apparently felt that the trip was hugely beneficial. In the handwritten note to Burrell, Diana revealed, "Today something really profound touched my life. I went to Mother Teresa's home and found the direction I've been searching for all these years. The sisters sang to me on arrival, a deeply spiritual experience, and I soared to such great heights in my spirit." So what else is Burrell up to these days now that he's no longer mixing in royal circles? Well, in 2019, he closed the floristry business he'd owned for nearly 18 years in order to go traveling with husband Cooper. And of the planned jaunt, he told the Daily Mail, "I want to take Cooper to places I've been with the Queen and the Princess and say, I remember walking on this spot with the Queen on the Great Wall of China." How about you? What do you think of what the new memoir reveals about the juicy details of Princess Diana's wild night with a rock legend? Please let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share with your own followers. And as always, subscribe to our channel for all the latest news on the royal family, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.